Are you looking to upgrade from your recreational kayak? Or maybe you just want to skip the rec kayak altogether and go right to something that's a lot more efficient through the water? Well, the Tsunami from Wilderness Systems might be for you. Hey everybody, it's Jamie from Outdoors Oriented here, and today we're going to be talking about the Wilderness Systems Tsunami series of kayaks. Now the Tsunamis have been around for almost 20 years, and they've gone through a few different variations. This one in front of me is the most recent variation, and this one's been around for a couple years now. So this whole series encompasses boats everywhere from 12 feet long all the way up into 17 feet long, but the ones that we're going to be focusing on in terms of features and the way they paddle is the 12.5, the 14, and the 14.5 foot versions. These three sizes are definitely the most popular, and they're the sizes that most people are going to look at when they're looking to get into one of these. They're going to be perfect for day trips, but also for a couple nights if we are going to take some camping gear with us. So the 145 that's in front of me here is very similar to the 140. Now the length is 6 inches different, but the main reason why you would choose a 140 or a 145 is due to the paddler size. So the 140 is designed for small to medium sized paddlers, and the 145 is designed for medium to large size paddlers. The 125, being the only size in the 12-footer, will accommodate most paddlers, all the way from small to large, but if you need a lot of extra leg length, then the 145 is the way to go. So the features are going to be shared between pretty much all the models, all those three sizes. The longer boats we're not going to discuss today, but they do have a little bit of a different feature set. So the material of these guys is going to be a rotomolded polyethylene, with the main benefit being it's extremely durable and abrasion resistant. It also offers really good bang for the buck when comparing it to some of the other materials you can find touring kayaks out of. Okay, so let's get down to the features. We're going to start at the bow. So looking at the bow, we've got our handle, which I like how they actually have kept it nice and snug to the deck using a little bit of bungee here, but then when we grab it, it'll pull out and make it easy to carry the boat. We also have perimeter deck lines that run all the way down the front and also down the back of the boat, and these have a little reflective stripe going through them, which is going to help us in low light conditions. We've got a little bit of deck rigging, and we're going to cover this off in more detail in a minute, but we do also have a bow hatch. Like I said earlier, both the 12.5, the 14, and the 14.5 are all going to have the bow hatch, which is sealed off with a foam bulkhead separating it from the rest of the boat. And if you're not sure what the benefit of a bulkhead is, there's actually a few of them. One is it's going to provide structural support to the boat so that it's not going to lose its shape. It's also going to provide us with dry storage in that whole bow area and also in the stern. And lastly, it's going to provide us with flotation. So if you were ever to capsize in one of these kayaks, the boat's actually going to float quite high in the water because it's only the center section that can fill with water. So we've got our front hatch, which has a nice rubber seal. You can see how it takes a little bit to kind of get it on and off, but once it's on there, it's going to provide a really good seal for us. There we go. And then we're going to get back, and I'm going to cover this off in a minute, but we're going to go right to the cockpit area. And the cockpit area has a whole lot going on, and this is one of the real reasons why Wilderness Systems is regarded as a leader, is the seating comfort and how much adjustability you've got in the cockpit. So they call it the Phase 3 seat, and that's because we've got 3 points of adjustment. So first off, we've got a back and forth, which is just controlled by these straps on the sides, so we can get into a more upright position or a more relaxed position. And then we're going to have an up and down on the backrest, which is controlled by a strap right in the front of the seat. So you can see in its lower setting here, it's going to allow us to put a spray skirt on a little bit easier, or we can raise it up nice and high for a little bit more back support. And then lastly, we've got thigh support. So there's a strap in the middle that we can pull up, and that's going to raise the thigh support, which I find is actually a really key in keeping it more comfortable for a long day on the water. And then what we've also got in the Tsunami series is a couple of adjustable thigh braces. So if you can see here, we've got a couple bolts and then a whole lot of different holes. So we can adjust these thigh braces, and it's something you're gonna do pretty much once and then you're not gonna worry about it again, but it allows you to really get a custom fit and make sure these are sitting right in the perfect spot so that you're gonna get really good control, but also obviously have the comfort. Then inside, we've got a couple foot pegs, which are easily adjusted even while you're in the kayak. So Wilderness Systems uses a system that allows you to just reach in just a little bit down. You don't have to reach all the way down to adjust it, just near your legs, and then you can lift it up out of the position, out of the lock position, slide it back and forth, and then drop it back down, and it's gonna lock back into place. So working our way forward or towards the stern a little bit more, you can see that we've got a security bar right behind the cockpit. And this is just great for being able to lock it on top of your car, or maybe if you're gonna keep it at the water, you can lock it there too. Just a little bonus that a lot more kayak companies are starting to put into the boats, but you definitely aren't gonna see it on all of them. We've got a little bit more deck rigging behind the cockpit. Again, good spot for maybe putting some safety gear, that sort of thing. And then we've got a really big rear hatch opening. So this is where you're gonna be able to fit your 20, maybe even your 30-liter dry bags and really take a lot of gear. So if you're packing carefully, there's no reason you can't get a week-long backcountry kayaking trip out of something like this. And then at the back, we've got one more handle, obviously for carrying and also for car topping to put your bow and stern lines on. And you'll see on this one's not outfitted with a rudder. So like I said earlier, there's 3 sizes in this kind of series, the 125, the 140, and the 145. The 125 is only available without a rudder, whereas both the 140 and the 145 are what's called either rudder ready, which is the one I've got in front of me, or they do offer it with a rudder. So if it's rudder ready, then basically what that means is all the fittings and everything is right there, and you can always add a rudder on later down the road, or you can buy it already installed from the factory on the ruddered models. So if it had a rudder, then basically there would be 2 lines running inside the kayak, going all the way up into the cockpit area that allows us to adjust it with our foot pegs. And then there's gonna be a rudder blade that sits here, and then it's gonna drop up and down using a line that would be attached to the side of the boat. So whether or not you should buy a rudder is a bit of a personal preference, and it depends a lot on where you're gonna be paddling. If you're gonna be in sheltered waterways a lot of the time, you may not actually find much use for it. But if you're out on bigger bodies of water, especially where you might be getting a bit of crosswinds hitting you, then a rudder can definitely be beneficial because you can drop it down, set it to an angle, and basically forget about it and just paddle like normal. So that's gonna be, that's, like I said, one of the options that you're gonna find on these kayaks. Now, if we roll it over, we're gonna look at the bottom. And you can see the hull shape on this guy, and we've got a multi-chined hull. So something that's really always set the Tsunamis aside is that it's a very good blend of speed, but also stability. So beginner kayakers are not gonna find this to be super tippy. It's actually quite good, even if it is your first kayak. But it's also very efficient in the water, and it doesn't take a lot of effort to get it moving. Also, because we've got sort of that V shape to it, it does track quite well in the water, and it is gonna keep going in a straight line without a lot of fighting. You'll see at the very back at the stern, there's also a little skid plate, which Wilderness Systems has started to incorporate into pretty much all their new models. And that's a great little idea that if you are gonna drag this boat ever, that's where the wear point's gonna be, and it's easily replaceable. So after a couple years, you can just unscrew it and pop a new one in, and you're good to go again. Okay, so let's roll this guy over, and I want to show you one more feature before we go out on the water and see how it paddles. So with this newest version of the Tsunami, Wilderness Systems is starting to give you a couple of these cool pouches, and these are going to be able to fit onto the front where the deck rigging is. So what we would do is we would simply take the deck rigging off, and the pouch is just going to fit onto these little knobs, super easy. And we've got one for each side, so we could put that one on that side, or we could even leave it as deck rigging if we wanted to. And we've just got a nice mesh bag inside there. So it's perfect for all sorts of things. You could put like a waterproof camera in there, you could put a water bottle, you could put some snacks, put pretty much whatever you want. And the ability to do that or to do the bungee is just really nice, and it allows you to sort of fine tune it according to what you want to do. So that's the last of our features, and I think we're going to go out on the water and see how it paddles now. I've been selling kayaks for a couple decades, and I've put countless people inside Tsunamis, and the feedback is always that it's a great blend of stability, paddling efficiency, and definitely comfort. And that's why I think this should definitely be a consideration if you're looking for a light touring or a touring kayak. To find out more about these kayaks, visit us online at outdoorsoriented.com. Or if you're in Southern Ontario, come and see us at the store. We'd love to show you these plus many more. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe so you'll be notified when we post new ones. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.